Yes, we definitely have this human experience and we've chosen it right now. But we have this bigger part of us and this greater part of us that is our source within.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome, Susan. So glad you're here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Daniel. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm so grateful to be connecting in 2025. And all our budding spiritual rock stars are here with us, tuning in. And one of the things, I'm really grateful for with you. You've been on my podcast. At least it felt like more than once, although I think it's been once. We had a bunch of couple of other calls with each other, and but yeah, you just really you told me you're really connected. You're really connecting for this call for this time together. I just feel like I need to shut up. I just feel like you've got so much to share. We're talking about manifesting in 5D. I shouldn't even be talking. I mean, that's how I feel.
You can definitely talk. It's fine. You can definitely
Okay.
talk.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
All right. So,
it's a
go ahead.
subject, isn't it? It's a subject
Yeah,
that gets talked about a lot, isn't it?
mhm.
About manifesting. So yeah, I just wanted to bring a different slant to it.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
why what I really am excited about. Because what does it mean? I used to use the language 5D this 5, and I got tired of it just because people had the wrong ideas about it. Well, that
Mm.
means we don't have to deal with any of the 3D, right? We can't get organized. Let's not look at our schedules. I mean, literally, like some people are that way. Like literally, it doesn't matter. We don't need to plan anything and
Yeah.
ever, and like these extremes. So for you, I mean, what does it mean, like this manifesting in 5D?
So in a nutshell, and obviously it's a lot more, there's more to
Okay.
it than this, but in a
Right.
nutshell, my feeling about it is actually the remembering of the source within. So yes, we definitely have this human experience and we've chosen it right now. But we have this bigger part of us and this greater part of us that is our source within. And I kind of like to imagine with people that you have this massive great light, and this is a spark of that light. So, this human experience that you're having is a spark of light. Okay. But we are connected to the bigger part of us. And what I found and what the guides have been coming through recently a lot about is yes, we are, third dimensional beings, but we've stepped into the fourth really now. But the fifth is more about remembering who you are. So truly embodying that source within. And yes, you were saying that, some people feel that they don't have to plan anything. They don't need to worry about, diaries or anything like that. But we still do that, but we do it from a place of presence. And I think that as I'm speaking about this now, it's very much about the guides are coming in with this moment in time when we truly are in the presence of our source. And if we can act within that and vibrate within that, remembering, then manifesting in this fifth dimension, this higher frequency, is more possible when we actually remember this part of us that actually has everything it needs
Mhm.
all the time. But there are wounds, and these wounds we might call third dimensional wounds. And that doesn't mean they necessarily have to be childhood, they could be, and they quite often are triggered in childhood. But they are wounds that create stories within us about our worth, about, disappearing money. Like we might, have some money in our bank account, but we have to spend it and get rid of it because we can't hold on to it. Or we might feel that we've got this, safety wound where we're the opposite of that, which is, where we have to have a certain amount of money. And I definitely have felt that, where I felt, right, if I've got that in my bank, then I feel I'm safe, you know? And I definitely think that there's a lot of that in the world at the moment where people feel that they might not have, they might not know what's around the corner. So therefore they hold on to. And of course, what that does is that's not your source talking. That's not your true essence of who you are talking. That is your trauma point or your wounding talking. And some might call it the ego, but ego has a connotation that goes with it, which is very negative. And I'd rather look at it as the part of you that has formed thoughts and opinions in this earth plane from other times, of course, as well. But this source part of us, this, this higher self part of us, actually, it's not, those decisions are not coming from there. So the
Right.
journey, I think, to manifesting in 5D is coming from that place. And the guys are saying again, coming into that presence, that true presence of the decision perhaps you're making, make that decision from that presence of source within, rather than the fear monkey mind, sometimes people call it, of I have to do this, or I shouldn't do that, or I'm not worthy of that, or I have to give all my money away, or my time, or overgiving, that whole thing of like overgiving all the time, because we feel that we have to give to be loved or something like that. That's not coming from source. Source is equal, and it is give, and it is take, and it is consciousness itself, and it is unity consciousness. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from when I'm talking about manifesting in 5D.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I mean, because yeah, there's other challenges with
Mm,
trying to manifest from 3D and 4D and all that stuff. Like it's willpower, we could make it happen, baby, and all that stuff. But there's nothing again, there's nothing exactly wrong with all those things. It's
no,
just we get really stuck though there, when we're not accessing, source,
we
like you
can
said,
do.
the ultimate presence, and we get spinning our wheels. I talk about this too with my clients when they're trying to grow their business. They're like, well, what do I have to do? Oh my God, how much can I charge? Oh my God, I'm not worthy of that yet. Or
Yeah,
different conversations depending on the client. And it's like, listen, I mean, you're unlimited. I mean, what you do is priceless. There's no limit. I mean, you can charge 100 grand. I mean, the right people will want to invest
yeah.
in you. I mean, like, I mean, it's available at least. So,
Mm,
but we don't trust that, right? We were not
yeah,
listening. We're not trusting what our truer desires are too.
yeah,
And then we just kind of just get in our heads about trying to figure out how to manifest what our minds think they want.
yeah.
And
Or what we feel we
that's a
should.
challenge too, right? I mean, yeah,
Or, what we feel we should. And I know
mhm,
definitely, like in my community,
yeah,
one of the things that sometimes people come in with to the soul family is, well, I want to live my mission, and that's what it's all about, right? Of course, we're all here to live why we're here, but we can't live our mission from a place of I don't feel worthy. We
right,
have to live our mission from, we're not thinking necessarily about the physical money, but we're thinking about what energy and what difference can I make in the world. And when you come from that place, when we come from that place, we're not, we're sort of thinking about the impact. And I like that word actually, is that how much impact could we make, or legacy, whatever it might be. And then I feel what happens when we shift into that presence is that the abundance, wherever the abundance comes from, starts to show up. And then sometimes when we're just about to go to the next level, so we might be just about to go to the next level, doesn't matter where we are, but we're just about to go to the next level, a beautiful wound comes up and says, can't quite do that. I'm going to stay at this level. And that doesn't matter whether you earn hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars,
mhm, mhm,
or whether you earn 25, it
mhm,
doesn't matter. wherever you're going to your next, I call it timeline really, next timeline, something will show up for you. And that's one of the things that I see a lot. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing to see when someone embraces the source within and notices that they're coming, their direction is coming from there and not from the fear of I've got to make enough money to survive. And that's where the whole Maslow, you know, hierarchy of needs is that, you know, that kind of pyramid that we have with Maslow. And it's like, you can't, if you haven't got shelter, if you haven't got food in your belly, if you haven't got the lights on, he doesn't quite say that, but you know what I mean? You can't think about creating. You know, you can't think about being in your source creation energy. You can only think about your survival. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most people are in that space for sure. So,
Yeah, great. And we're
right,
not, you know, and it is
right,
good. But
right.
when we go to the next level, that
Mm,
next level of consciousness, sometimes those things show up again. And it's because, oh, okay, just got to tweak that little bit, you know?
mhm, mhm,
Mm,
mhm. Yeah. So I mean, again, in the backdrop of this event, we're
mm.
talking about all the things going on in the world, at least referencing them.
Yeah.
And like here in the U.S., you can't get away from the fact of the tragedy, the wildfires in L.A. and even you, right? Everybody around the world knows
Yeah.
because the U.S. is such a
We
prime
know about
driver
it.
of news too. I mean, in the
Mm,
world, all these things, and as tragic and as horrible as it is, and how sad it is, and how devastating it is, and everything. I mean, the average person is not directly impacted, and yet we can become complete, that could be your whole day, completely obsessed with this one issue in the
yeah.
world. And I'm not making it exactly wrong, but it could be then the next day there's another fire, I mean, metaphorically now, like there's another
Yeah, yeah.
one, now there's another one, and
Or a
like,
flood, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Or
and
we
then
had snow here in the
people say
UK
so many
and
things. The economy's
everything stops.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the economy's bad. You'll hear that. Times are tougher than ever, and this and that.
Mm,
But then there's another conversation going on that, some people are tuning into more so, which is no, times are more abundant than ever, and here's the proof and everything. So what are where are you focusing your attention? I mean, and then are you actually allowing yourself to go beyond any of the conditions and allow yourself to hear what's really true is what I'm, what's really there as part of it. But I feel like there's more to it. So what else is it that are the practices or
mm.
ways you help people to really to start manifesting from 5D?
I mean, I'm really here. I'm getting boiling hot as well. So when that happens, you know, the guides are really coming in strong. And what I'm hearing is about this unity consciousness. But what I'm also hearing is that if we can focus on our own journey and our own source direction, let's call it, you know, our higher self guiding us on our journey, then we're not focusing outside of ourselves so much. And I think that, you know, exactly like you say, not to take away from, you know,
Right,
the sorrows that people experience, absolutely, and we've all had things like that in our life.
right.
I think that if we're focusing and our attention, and what you said was really interesting, is like our attention goes there. So
Hmm.
when our attention goes there, what do we get more of?
Right,
We get more of that, but we only go that way, we only draw ourselves there because there is a frequency match to something that triggers something within us. Okay, so if we feel a certain way, there's no mistake that the reason why we feel a certain way is because there is a part of us, yes, with compassion, of course, but there is a part of us that feels that little bit of wounding as well. You know, the fear of survival, say the fires, yeah, fear of survival, fear of losing your possessions with fire, right? That's all coming up for people, and then that brings up, you know, that what you're saying is, you know, sometimes there are people in poverty. And I think that we've all noticed that in our lives. We've seen people around us, we've seen people on the street, we've seen people homeless, we've seen perhaps neighbors that didn't have as much, or we didn't have as much, or whatever it might be. So it's always been there. It's
right.
always been there. And I think now Thank you. I think now that Melchizedek's standing here, right? So I think now what we're really experiencing is taking responsibility for what we feel and what we are attracting into our experience, and not from a place of it's your fault, right? But from a place of, wow, that's interesting. I wonder why I felt that way. Of course, I care about people, but why do I feel so devastated? What is it within me? And that's where the compassion comes in, doesn't it? And that's where the inner work comes in. And really, my whole journey is not about helping people manifest. That's just one thing. But it came to me really strongly that I felt that to talk about it, because there's a lot of conversation at the moment because it's the new year and people are saying, what are you going to create in this year? What are you going to do? I'm actually going to do a TED talk myself, but I'm not thinking of the TED talk from a perspective of where is it going to go afterwards. I'm thinking of the TED talk as I want to share my message.
Mhm.
So as I share my message, whoever's meant to hear that message will hear it. And perhaps a TED talk will be a bigger platform. So it's kind of my thinking where I'm being guided with my soul. I have no idea where it's going to go, right? And I think if we can live like that, where we can just listen to the guidance of where we're going, rather than I should do this and I should have done that. I'm feeling really bad about it as well. Like you haven't done that and you should have written that book. You should
Right.
have created your business. I'm sure you hear this all the time. I
Yeah.
I had that sitting, for ages and I should have done it.
Right. Right.
Actually, what amazing things have you done?
Right.
What have you manifested? If you guys are listening to this and you're listening to the show next week, then you are, you've manifested that on some level. To hear that information from people to help you to plant a seed. So, we are manifesting things all the time. It's just that many of the times we're doing it through default. And when we're connecting with our source and our true divinity, we are connecting with listening to our higher power. And that, I think, is the key now as we're stepping into the number 9 year of 2025. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. That's great. I think there's been a lot of within the people that are into spirituality and waking up and want to be spiritual rock stars. I think there's a lot of where there's phases you go through where first it's like, all right, I don't know if I believe in all that kind of stuff, manifesting from 5D or whatever, all that.
Yeah.
Then you go to, boy, I'm really curious. Let me check it out. Oh, wow. I think I want to try this. Oh, wow, it works. Oh, wow. And you have all
Mm,
kinds of new ideas, right? And
yeah.
then maybe you do get to it. Maybe I don't even need my diary, as you put it, right? I don't even need, yeah, yeah. And then I don't need the news either. I don't need any of it. And then,
You definitely don't need the news.
right, right. But my point is then what has happened, with
Mm,
all this stuff going on and the access to so much information all the time, it's so prevalent right in your face. I think people have been hooked, by the lower mind in those cases and like, all right, what's going on? Like, and
mm,
like they've got it. It's like be on the news, be informed. Like whether they are thinking that's the way to be or not, that's what is happening.
mhm.
I think hopefully it's starting to shift now, but people are getting more mindful, I think, of this stuff, and so we're starting to see some headway probably. But
I think
yeah,
we
and
are.
then we're where your attention goes, energy flows and manifests
Hmm.
everything, right? So it's like
Exactly. I
please
know.
fast from the news, all of us, like myself included. I just it's hard for me to stay with the news. I can peek in on it maybe, but I can't stay with it too much lately. It's just
Do
like
you find
okay,
that with films as well, though, Daniel? Like I recently here in the UK, there was a film, and it's a Disney film, and it's called The Lion King, but it's the one afterwards. It's the
yeah,
new
yeah, the
one.
Mustafa, yeah.
Mus- yeah,
Hmm.
Mufasa or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
I couldn't watch it. I literally couldn't. A whole group of us went, and I literally had my hand over my eyes. I could not watch it. The energy of it was just so violent, so scary. So I was just like, no, I just don't want to watch this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, and actually my daughter was the same. She couldn't
That's so
watch it either.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
So,
what's happening to me, and I'm hearing it from other people lately too, and maybe
mm,
it's because I'm biased and I'm hearing what I want to hear, but I do feel like, and I've been saying this for a long time, that again, as these times go on, again, more and more people are raising up, while more and more people are
mm.
descending more further. Like, and
Yeah,
so
I have
I
seen
mean,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
I have seen that as
So
well.
it
Yeah.
can be confusing because you're like, people are suffering worse than ever, like your mind could say, but at the same
Mm,
time, look at how you're expanding. Like you said, give appreciation
mm,
for how you are expanding, all the good things that are happening, because that's part of, dips you into the 5D as well. I remember a teacher a long time ago told me, create everything from abundance. It sounds so simple, but how
mm.
often do people do that, right? Oh, I got to do it because I got to do it.
Yeah. And not to do
I'm
it
gonna do
because
it
you
because I
have
want to
to.
do it and I'm
It
inspired to do it and all that stuff. Yeah.
I like just a simple one is just when you go to bed at night, if you just feel like it's hard for you to think about manifesting, let's say, for example, just the simple thing is when you go to bed at night, oh, I'm so grateful for my bed. I'm so grateful that, in this country it's cold, so I've got a hot warmer. I'm
Mhm.
so grateful for that. And just that going to sleep on gratitude is such a beautiful frequency to go to sleep on. And then, of course, when you wake up, you're in a frequency of gratitude. Whereas if you go to bed or go to sleep on, I'm worrying about this, or I'm on my phone, or, watching TikTok and Instagram and all that sort of stuff, scrolling on your phone, your energy is programmed into what you've just watched, right?
Right.
So it's a really good thing to do is to create a sacredness as you go to sleep. I've taught
Mhm.
my kids that, both my kids,
Yeah, how you start and end
teenagers.
your days is critical. And
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
How do
I
you how do you do it? What do you do? How do you start your day and end
yeah,
your day?
yeah. I start with meditation, and then after meditation, I go into stretching, and then I go for a
Mm,
walk.
mm,
And then after that, well, during my walk, I'll do prayers during that time
mm,
as well. And then when I get back, I get a cup of cacao. I'd
nice.
like to do, but that's very nurturing. It's very centering for
Yeah,
me. I'm like, cacao. Like I get centered
yeah,
with that. I get centered, and then right now, what I'm doing is I'll do practices where I do affirmations while I put my hands over my heart, let the energy
mm,
sink in. Right, gratitude affirmations.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, without getting into every detail, it's how
No,
I
you're
start
balancing
my
it.
day. Yeah,
Balancing
absolutely.
it with things like moving your body, which is really important.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to a gym to do it, but you
Right.
can, literally, like you said, is do some stretches, and if
Mhm.
people are having, their body is showing some messages at the moment, because obviously the body is the barometer for the soul, right? So the soul is talking to you via your body all the time. And so if your body's feeling that, like, even if you just stretch your arms or just kind of like moved a little bit, and then you would start to feel like the energy was moving. So I definitely, I hear you on that. I'm the same. I wake up, I do my meditation, and if people are not really wanting to spend a lot of time meditating, because sometimes people are not, there's one thing that we can do which is just so simple. Put your hands on your heart like you do, but just breathe in through your nose and
Right, with the
hold.
breathing, yes. Yes.
Just hold.
Hold it. Yeah.
And as you hold, you go into your presence in that moment.
Yeah.
And I just kind of do
Yeah.
it 3 times. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
if it's a bit rushed, taking one of mine to college or something, then I will do that. And so I think you just get into, like, these appreciations and almost like a spiritual rock star practice,
Totally.
your own little spiritual rock star practice. And the gratitude, I think, is really important. So gratitude for yourself, like,
Mhm.
find one thing, that you can be grateful for, of like, wow, I actually achieved this, or I actually made that phone call, or I actually did put in place what Daniel said to do in a coaching call or something. It's like that kind of thing. It's just really important to do that.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a great reminder for all of us, really. It's because it's easy. The mind comes in, you didn't
Yeah,
do this, you didn't do that,
yeah,
right? Like it's
yeah,
constantly, no matter, even if you achieve, you're like, yeah, but it could have been better,
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, my little stinky mind can do that sometimes for sure.
Same, but my
Yeah, yeah,
book,
yeah.
the book was sitting in the ether of the Akashic records for years. When I finally got my book, Awaken the Light Within Your Heart, out there, it was, like a couple of years ago. And I was like, that should have been out earlier. That should have been out. And then I just like, actually, you know what? That's a really big achievement.
Yeah,
So just let it go. It's
it
out there
is.
in the world. It's an achievement.
Yeah.
And reinventing the wheel as well. Like, oh, I could have edited it more. I could have put more in it. I could have, but that's another bit, right? So you don't
Yeah.
need to reinvent the wheel. And I think we have to kind of sometimes just let go in the 3D as well.
Now, some people are probably listening and saying, "This is such a 3-4D conversation, though, and where's the 5D and everything?" So, like,
Yeah.
right? So, but I mean, I think we make it so complicated. Like, oh, this 5D, we need to figure it out. It's really not that hard. I mean,
Mm,
it's like get connected with the source energy, get present. I mean, yes, there's some simple instructions here and there, but I mean,
mm.
it's not so complicated, is one of the things I'd like to put out there. And so how do you, I mean, I know you got a free gift and all that. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
that in a minute soon.
Mm.
But yeah, if there's any last, well, let's talk about that. And any last, ideas or tips you have from people around manifesting in 5D would be great. So do you want to tell people about your gift?
Yeah, so the gift is so I have a series of galactic crystal healing chambers which were channeled to me. And we have one in the series which is called the Abundance Chamber. And so it's a remote healing chamber, and I'm gifting it to your audience. And so once you sign up to it, so once you fill in the Google form and you click the box, Abundance Chamber, then you're instantly in it, and you're in it for a whole month. So what the Abundance Chamber is basically a way to actually let go and immerse yourself in the energy of releasing blocks to abundance. So, abundance, of course, isn't just money, it's opportunities, it's little thoughts that come to you, it's your soul talking to you, it's many different things. So, it's just a really beautiful one to go with this conversation. I felt like it was a beautiful gift to
Perfect.
offer.
That's perfect. Yeah. I mean, um, my wife Deb, she does what you call, the med beds, energetic med beds.
Mm,
She does for people. They
yeah,
really work. I mean, they really have done a lot of good things.
yeah,
And then I said, why don't you do money med beds or whatever. I know money beds or whatever.
yeah,
And I said, let's have fun with that, and that's
yeah.
kicking in as well. Like that's been
It
turning out
is, I
well.
mean,
So I mean,
it's
we have these
intention.
things. Yeah, these cool. Yeah. But it's good to have someone else obviously hold you in that chair. Otherwise, the mind tends to take over if you try to just do. I'll put myself in my own bed, and yeah. Good luck with that. It doesn't work as effectively. I
No.
feel anyway. Letting somebody else hold
Well, I think
that
when
for
it's
you
been
or help you with that. Yeah.
channeled, when it's been channeled for you, and it's encoded and it's
Yes. Yeah.
created, then it
Mm,
holds that frequency. And
yes.
the chambers that I've been given, they are from sacred times, so Atlantean and galactic times. And so within the chamber, and some people actually see this as well when they step in, is they actually see the guides and they see the angels and they feel the presence of it. And often
Mhm.
people wake up the next day and just feel a lot more peace, which is really great. But what I will say is that I'm kind of getting this bit of information here from the guides as we're talking about it, is that thank you, there are so many incredible, exciting things coming up for us all on this planet. And on the date 21st of January, if I get that right, which is not far off, there's a lineup of the planets. There are 6 planets in a line. And I'm an intuitive astrologer as well. So I like to look at this stuff. And so if you imagine that you've got all these planets lined up, so these planets are creating experiences in your chart. So depending on where they hold in your chart, they will actually activate it. And on the 22nd, there is a Venus star point. And a Venus star point is like, whew, there you go. There's a beautiful activation of money and love. There's a beautiful activation on your mission. And then on the 8th of March, Mercury joins all those planets. And that's about communication out to the world. So we're in the age of Aquarius, we stepped into that. And so it is the time for us to truly live, be our spiritual rock stars, and truly live our mission. And I think that is fifth dimensional living. If we ever call it any dimension, it's multi-dimension, but if we ever call it anything, that is it. Living your mission. Why are you here? What lights you up when you get up in the morning? Do you feel lit up by what you do, or are you dreading going to work? And these are the things that we can tell when we're in alignment with our soul's consciousness and the message that we're being driven towards.
Yeah, that's so great. And yeah, are you lit up by it or not? That's a good tell right there. So do you have any last words for everybody? I mean, that sounds
Jesse?
amazing. It's absolutely no reason not to join up and allow yourself to get into the chamber. I mean, there's no reason not to do that. But do you have any last words or tips for people? If it's something or something you're kind of
Yeah,
channeling?
let's see. I'd rather get it from
Yeah.
from the guidance. So this is actually Mother Mary, and she's not going to speak through me, but she's going to inspire me. And she's saying that as we chose to come in at this time as a tiny baby, we knew who we were, and we knew exactly why we were here. We knew why we chose our parents and why we chose the country that we live in, and the city, and the experiences and the people. And yet there is a part of us that also chose to forget. And this part of us, she's saying, is starting to become thinner and thinner. That the forgetting part of us is being shown to us, and it no longer matches the truth and the authenticity of who we truly are. And so, this part of us that we are leaving behind is allowing us to see a clearer direction for our lives, a clearer opening and expansion of our own abundant living. It allows us to choose. It allows us to remember deep within our soul the part of us that chose to be here at this incredible time of expansion. And she lastly says, she just kind of stands back a little bit now, but she lastly says that part of remembering who we are is to remember that we are never on our own, and that we chose to come in with our guides and our loved ones and our angels, and they guide us every step of the way. The important part of remembering is to ask. Always ask for guidance on your journey. And so it is.
Oh, it is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, that's great. It really helped me to. We had some technical stuff getting this thing going today, and I'm like, honestly, my tension level had risen up, and like that last little bit, just was able to just really let go. So that's fantastic. I
Oh,
really enjoyed that. That's
beautiful.
awesome. Of course,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed other work with you too that you've done. So I
Mm.
appreciate that. Susan's a great, powerful channeling guide and healer and all the rest. So
Thank you.
spiritual scientist. All right. All right. Thanks so much, Susan. It was one really
Thanks, Daniel.
awesome. Thanks for sharing so much.
Thank you. Much love.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.